Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
If Trump tears up the deal, Iran's Muslim leader just made disturbing threat to America. Former President Barack Obama, whose father was from the Muslim-majority country Kenya and who grew up himself in the Muslim-majority country Indonesia, spent his time in office apologizing to foreign countries for Republican President George W. Bush's actions and appeasing countries in the Middle East. One of Obama's most indefensible acts as president was signing a nuclear arms deal with Iran, a Muslim theocracy run by Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. President Donald Trump has been strong enough to stand up to Iran, which has been a geopolitical foe of the United States for nearly 40 years, and pledged to reject Obama's cowardly agreement. In response, Ayatollah Khamenei has threatened President Trump what he will do if Trump ends Obama's nuclear deal with the terrorist country as promised. Said Khamenei on Iranian State TV, sounding like the lowest end of the cjeap-shot liberal media, "I will not spend time to respond to the nonsensical comments by the foul-mouthed president." He then called Trump's administration mentally retarded. He continued, in his speech to Iranian students, "Trump's stupidity should not distract us from America's deceitfulness. If the U.S. tears up the deal, we will shred it." He added, "We managed to stop the dominance of the U.S. Furthermore, despite animosity of the U.S., we became powerful, and progressed." Anti-Semite Khamenei claimed that the United States was an international Zionist agent because it supports Israel, and then vowed, "Everyone should know that once again America will receive a slap in its mouth and will be defeated by Iranians." Are you glad Trump is standing up to this terrorist leader? Trump was right, liberals just did unthinkable to Jefferson Memorial in D.C. Well, shoot, it finally happened. When President Trump decided to disagree with the media about Charlottesville, he was upset about radical violence and the rewriting of history. Now let's jump forward just a few days. It turns out that an NPO named the Trust for the National Mall is ready to make a huge change to the memorial to Thomas Jefferson. The Jefferson Memorial will be upgraded to focus more on his slave ownership. Now, to be fair, they have not specified what the changes will be. The group simply claimed the monument will now reflect the complexity of Thomas Jefferson as a founding father and slave owner. From the looks of their statements about the project, it is more likely that the changes will be in the form of plaques and stands focused on his slave ownership. It's better than chaining slave statues to his current statue, for sure. The trust managed to get control of the monuments by funding the $150 million refurbishment project for the Parks Department, which is currently $11 million in debt. There have been talks of this change before, so it is hard to tell if it is reactionary to the Charlottesville riots. Still, the timing could not be much more convenient. So, while this one on its own is no disaster, couple it with the vandalism and attacks around the country on historical monuments and major newspapers demanding we blow up Mount Rushmore, and it makes you really wonder. Minutes ago Trump looked right into solar eclipse, then did something jaw-dropping. Big things are coming in this country. Are you ready? Nothing can take down Donald Trump. Not even the sun itself. President Trump decided to challenge the sun today and stare directly into the solar eclipse. He wasn't even wearing protective goggles. Despite all the warnings that the eclipse would hurt your eyes and cause blindness, Trump stole a glance at the eclipse. He is so frickin' awesome. He doesn't care at all. He just took on the sun himself. You see him smiling, liberals? That's because he's president and there is nothing that y'all can do about it. Share this everywhere if you are so frickin' impressed by your president. The violent liberals, the crappy legislature, the lying media doesn't know what's going to hit them. Let's show them how many Trump supporters are still out there. I love my president, do you? OMG, Antifa just did something so horrifying in Houston that bin Laden would be proud. Well, it looks like the alt-left is finally following in the footsteps of Al-Qaeda. An Antifa member in Houston, Texas designed a homemade, chemical bomb and was caught by police setting it in public. The would-be terrorist was a 25-year-old named Andrew Shanek who built a liquid explosive device and was planning on using it to blow up a Confederate statue of Lieutenant Richard Dowling. Luckily, the attack was impeded after police found the bomber setting his device up at the base of the statue on Monday night. The bomber tried to drink the explosives to hide the evidence, however police apparently managed to stop him. Of course, this was not his only terror attempt. Police raided Shnek's house this morning, which it turned out is the second raid on his house. 4 years ago the FBI raided his house and arrested him for making military-grade explosives. If that is not bad enough, the man was supposed to be on probation. However, a judge released him from probation ahead of schedule in 2016. Police evacuated the neighborhood when they raided the house, fearing possible traps or unstable explosives could be detonated and cause extreme damage to the surrounding. Yet, somehow, the MSM keeps claiming Antifa represents peace. Oh, really? In the same way that every mass murderer in history has been fighting for peace. America needs to take a stand against these monsters before it is too late. It is one thing to oppose Nazis, it's a whole different thing to blow up building, attack the elderly, and try and institute autocratic rule through fear. Share this out so we can stop them together. CNN just did something heartbreaking to cover up Antifa's crimes. We all know that CNN has gone ahead and thrown all decency and journalistic standards out the window, but somehow they still just managed to top themselves again. You see, they wrote an interesting article over the weekend about how Antifa believes that violence equals peace, and that showed in Charlottesville. However, it did not take long for Antifa leaders to come out and demand that CNN change their story. So what did CNN do? They changed their story to make Antifa look peaceful after Antifa complained. CNN's original title for the story was "Unmasking the Leftist Antifa Movement, Activists Seek Peace Through Violence." Honestly, it was always a biased article. I read it when it came out, but watch what they did to change it. After a bunch of Antifa members protested being called a violent movement and said Charlottesville was not their fault, CNN decided to lend them a hand and change the headline to "Unmasking the Leftist Antifa Movement." Not only that, if you look just under the title, where it says editor's note, you can see the explanation saying the story was updated to clarify that Antifa says the violence was not their fault. I bet Hitler said the same thing. Sure, Antifa did fight white supremacists at Charlottesville, but most of the time all they do are beat up innocent conservatives or anyone they imagine could possibly disagree with them. Share this out if you want to see their violence and CNN held accountable for supporting them. This GOP senator just stuck a knife in Trump's back and the shocking video is going viral. President Trump may have a lot of work to do before the swamp is drained, but certain party members are making it much easier to choose who gets the boot. GOP Senator Susan Collins, Republican Maine, showed the world where her loyalties lie on Monday, using an interview with MSNBC's Hallie Jackson to gripe about our president and drop a bombshell regarding the 2020 elections. When asked if she believes President Trump will be the party's nominee in 2020, Collins offered zero support for Trump and his administration, even to the point of admitting that it's too difficult to say. But this shouldn't be much of a shock coming from Collins, who took the rare opportunity in front of cameras to twist the knife further. "I didn't support the president when he was our party's nominee," Collins said when asked if other Republicans should step in to prevent Trump from gaining the nomination. "It was a very difficult position for me to take. I'd never taken it before." Collins clearly isn't content with taking only her vote from President Trump. She wants to rally other professional politicians to betray our commander-in-chief. It is exceedingly unique for an incumbent president to receive a primary challenge, with the last occurrence being conservative stable Pat Buchanan challenging former President George H.W. Bush during the 1992 election. Unfortunately for Collins and her two-faced friends, President Trump has a rock-solid grip on his base of dedicated supporters. There is no doubt the primary challenge against President Trump would be party suicide, and the last thing this country needs is a Democrat in the White House. I think it's time people start picking a side that will move this nation forward. If the GOP continues to fight within itself, the important issues our president has been fighting to address will continue to fall by the wayside. Are y'all sick and tired of hearing these indecisive backstabbers pick on the righteous leaders of our country? Share this now so the truth is heard all over the world. Sources: thehill.com, dailycaller.com.